Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat19, a podcasty-style thingamajig featuring the players you love from Nat19. Plus, for this episode specifically, the DM from Nat19. Here we'll be delving into some of your most burning questions you've submitted using the hashtag Chat19. I messed it up, as the hashtag Chat19 was already taken by a restaurant in New York. I'm your host, Chase Coffin Jockey, and I am joined today by some lovely, lovely people. How about you guys introduce yourselves and give a little bit of info on what you do in Nat19? Let's start with Carrie.
How dare you start with me? Hi, I'm Carrie, or ex-Bubble Monkey X, and I do stuff on the internet. But in Nat19, I'm Lexi Dragon Slayer Hendrix. That's me. She's a wonderful Kitsadria rogue, and I adore her ever so. That's about it. That's all I gotta say.
Next up, Aaron.
Hi there, I'm the guy from the internet. You might know me as Aaron, or you might know me as Mr. Dragon Heist. I play Miriam in the Saturday game, and I'm Mr. Dragon Heist in the Mr. Dragon Heist game. Hello.
Woo. And then lastly, we got Logan. Logan, can you go into great detail about each character that you play?
Yes. Okay. So hello. I am Logan the Azure Crow, sticking to Chase's naming
Everyone else
template from earlier.
Everyone else disappointed me. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Your last name to me now is no longer your last name. You are now legally Chase Coffin Jockey.
No, I will get a name change, as I assume you also shall.
Alrighty. And so I am Logan Laidlaw. I am the DM of the Saturday games, the Vestige games, and I am also a player in the Thursday games, being heckin' the player of Bax and also the player of many corpses from Tomb. And I'm also not allowed on Nat19 normally, and today or Chat19 normally, and today I'm not allowed on Chat19, and today we're going to find out why.
I think you just proved why.
That's not why, and you know it.
I mean, we're 2 minutes 30 seconds in, as far as my timer says, and I already have to get a name change. So, you know,
Fuck.
this is why.
I can't wait to suck all the fun out of this.
Oh, wonderful. So, I have devised an approximate way to organize the questions that were submitted by everyone. Which will go question for Logan, then question for the players. I'm going to try to keep that up through the rest of this. So the first question for Logan is spell amnesis.
Oh, thank God, I need it.
AMNIASIS. Should I also correct every other commonly misspelled word and name from my campaigns?
I think that might be very, very helpful.
Cue the montage music.
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't have time. Oh.
Oof.
The funny part is, about you spelling amnesis is that I don't know how it's spelled either, so I can't tell you if you're right or wrong based on your spelling.
AM silent Q NNI symbol emoticon of a girl beside a boy. You're the boy and she's the sister. Done.
Nice. It's interesting that your world has emoticons in it.
3 E's.
That's how you spell it, everyone. 3 E's. That's how you spell it. 3 E's.
Wonderful.
Very helpful for when you have amnesis and can't remember how to spell amnesis.
Well, after the first question, you're already making wonderful use of me being here.
Oh,
True.
thank you so much. The second question is technically for everyone. So Logan, you can participate in this one if you would like.
Okay.
Second question is for both you as players and also characters if you feel like adding that. Which NPC do you find the most physically attractive, and which NPC would you be most likely to date?
That's cruel. They're all beautiful. Oh my God. Who's going first, man? Who's?
I'm waiting for you guys to answer.
You're already talking.
Yeah, it's
Fine.
Carrie.
That's what but they're also broke. Oh god. Okay. I really like Argo, but that's not gonna work out for obvious reasons. Oh no. Probably Tantia. Yeah. Let's go Tantia. I'm gonna steal that bitch. She's so pretty. Goddamn. Oh, and she's like, she's a firecracker. She's scrappy. I'm into that. It's a good time. Yeah. Tantia. Go with that.
Final answer.
Final answer, Tantia.
And how about you, Aaron?
It's the most attractive and the most likely that I would date.
Is
as
it
a
likely
player
that
and
you
or
would
a
date, or
character.
you want to date?
That
Oh,
you
it-
would.
Would you would
yes.
most like to date?
Yeah.
If it were up to you,
Yeah.
which would you most like to date?
Yeah, I couldn't say which I would say is the most attractive because most NPCs in our game is they're pretty darn
God.
attractive.
Me.
Yeah, I like a lot of them. I'd say if I had to date any of the NPCs so far, Aaron would be like, "Yo, Marimus, what's up?
Mm-hmm.
How you
For
doing, book nerd?"
You were saying you would date Aaron.
Yo, yeah.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing? What's up? You
Aaron,
from
I
out of
was like-
town?
Dude, right? I was like, there's an NPC called Aaron? What?
Yeah, I know.
I'm my
Like, I
favorite
missed them?
NPC.
I was like, did I miss them?
NPC.
No, as far as Aaron goes, I'd say Mary missed. Yeah, that's it. Mary missed.
Yeah,
Okay.
good call. A good call.
All right, Logan. Now it's time
Okay.
Oh, here we
So
go.
I have two answers. Because I have like 5 answers.
Here we
Um,
go.
So, out of the ones that you guys know that are in the game,
That's me.
for-
You're a
That's-
butthole.
We're already,
Is it
we're
lady?
already here. We're
We're
already
talking
at
about lady.
being totally honest, a lady, probably. But you guys haven't bumped into Vestige Lady yet. But if it were... ignoring that, because you guys don't have any frame of reference for that, I would say it would probably be either... I kind of in the same camp as you, Carrie, where I'm like, Tantia's pretty bae, but that's not going to work out for the same reasons as Argo.
Yep.
I would say it would probably be Lyra. I probably like Lyra the most. I find her the most physically attractive, which I think is an easy answer, but there's a reason that a lot of people have said that. Most likely to, like, which one would I like to date the most? Is it still Lyra? She'd be too much.
She'd just be too much.
She'd be way too much. I couldn't handle her. I can't even channel her properly.
It's fair.
It's like she requires a better DM to properly exist. If I was to say which ones I would most like, if it's just I would most like to date, it would probably, but in both cases, it'd be a tie between Scandal and Lyra.
I knew that's what you were gonna say. I'm like, here we go, Scandal out, right?
But I feel
This
like
was gonna be-
Scandal's a problem, and like Lyra, it wouldn't be a long relationship, but I would most like to date Lyra, and she's definitely the most attractive. It's hard, man, because I'm making them, so let's be honest here. They're all, like, things I find particularly attractive in some form or another.
Yeah.
Lyra, final answer.
Wonderful. Thank you for this.
But maybe Scandal.
How?
God damn it.
Final answer.
How? Oh, thank you.
Someone with red hair is his final answer.
They're all redheads! I just realized all 3 of the people I said were redheads.
Yep.
Is it possible that Logan has a type? Find out next time.
Ooh.
Oh. Now, when I had said initially that the questions were formatted as Logan, then everyone / players, then Logan again, I omitted a certain detail, which is that now we begin the phase of this where it is just straight up several love letters to the Crystal Queen. So we are going to
Nice.
begin this section of the podcast.
Here
Okay.
we go, boys.
Back and forth for that. So first question for that, to our beloved tyrant, the Crystal Queen Satsumaru. Do you have a council of advisors to help you run your country? Or are there only lackeys for the day-to-day operations? Also asking for a friend, do you have you ever had a consort?
Mm.
Okay. So I assume I have to answer this.
Oh yeah, we
No,
don't
this
know
is for
anything.
Carrie.
Okay.
I don't fucking know.
So-
Shit.
As far as the Council of Advisors go, she has some people that she personally trusts that even before she became a conqueror, she held as her court, which would effectively be what they are. She also includes among that, the players already know that she's been going around in the Strike Lands, absorbing and annexing other military bodies and other wandering groups of, like, the hobgoblins and such. She tends to take their leaders and include them as the people that she trusts, but with very little patience regarding them if they mess up. But she does hold the leaders of the groups that she absorbs into her forces as trustworthy until they mess up. So I would say that would count for that. She does have an overabundance, though, of lackeys, werebeasts, monsters, creatures that she has taken command of purely through force. So I'd say most of her work would be done just from her ordering lackeys to perform certain duties. But she has people that, regarding military things, she does correspond with. As for, asking for a friend, has she ever had a consort? So this is a well-timed question,
Oh,
given what we talked about last game.
What me and Aaron talked about. Oh, it's so perfect. Oh, jeez.
So, yes. Over the years, she hasn't always been the Crystal Queen, quote-unquote. And her attitude before becoming the Crystal Queen, quote-unquote, was different. But since becoming it, yes, she has the means to keep herself entertained, should she require it. And one would assume, without giving away too much about things the players wouldn't know, one would be reasonable to assume that she currently has the means to keep herself entertained. But I can't go into a lot of specifics, and don't want to, given the recent in-game insinuation that the Crystal Queen might be the mother of one of the characters. I feel like I don't want to tip my hand too far either way on that one.
well, all right.
Do they have a consort? C.
To maybe summarize that answer, if the question were to be phrased as, does she have a harem? The answer would be yes.
Oh, jeez.
So she doesn't have a consort.
No. Yeah, she...
Consorts with whom she pleases.
Yes.
I
Wonderful.
mean, that makes sense. She's fine. Like, who-
I hate being the DM. When I'm in the background of the other ones, you're always talking back and forth and joking with people with me. It's, Logan, what is this thing? And I'm like, here's the answer. And I'm like, all right, next question. I hate
It's
it.
a super interesting answer. It's good.
I want to be a normal player.
Aww.
Always on the outside looking in.
Dude, you just gotta do heckin' Chat19 for heckin' Dragon. Do it.
Or, hear me out,
Do it for
have
Dragon.
a third answer to any double part questions and a second and a single, where you answer as though Bax were a player character and just with the
Perfect.
party, but silent for some reason.
Perfect.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Next question. For everyone, what is your character's favorite sweet? If they don't like sweets, then why? And for Logan, please answer for Mary Mist and Lyra.
Aww.
So,
Over.
Lexi, what could possibly be your character's favorite sweet? What?
I don't know, man.
It's
What
such
could
a
it
mystery.
be?
We've been asking for months.
Jesus Christ, it's obviously strawberries. Like, 'cause I don't think, like, do candy bars even exist in this world?
There would-
like in
Chocolate
that
and
kind
candy
of
would definitely
way, or-
exist. I mean, it wouldn't be the
Okay.
same sort of branded, like, nougat covered in chocolate that we would know today, but,
Yeah.
like, there'd definitely be, like, candy and sweets
Yeah,
and like.
maybe people
Yeah.
that's their profession is
Yeah.
just making candy.
Yeah. But no, I feel like even if candy exists and whatnot, like she likes strawberries. She likes being able to find them, and it makes her heckin' happy. It's a good time.
A fox eating
A simple
strawberries. Such a
answer.
cute image.
You're right. You're right. I think Aaron found a video of it, and he was just like Lexi and sent it to me, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
told you, foxes love strawberries. I'm so correct. The cutest thing.
Aaron.
Chocolate, very easily.
Heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Entirely fair. Is he like a dark cacao kind of boy?
Really any of it.
Fair.
Whatever pairs best with the wine he has currently.
Oh, that
Beautiful.
bougie bitch.
Oh, what a bougie bitch. And then Mary Mist.
So for Mary Mist, it's it's not difficult to answer per se, but she's so hyper focused on one thing in her life that I imagine food is not a mechanical thing for her, but it's definitely something she doesn't put a lot of thought into. If she is eating for the sake of like enjoying eating though, I would say probably also chocolate, but she'd probably be more on like the bitter chocolate side of things than she would be on the side of like really sweet chocolate, which I feel like still counts.
You know what's great about Mary Mist and chocolate? Because she's like a frost antique, she has to worry less about it melting in her hands while she's eating it. So it
Totally.
doesn't fuck up reading a book.
Dude, I also like to imagine that, like, because she doesn't really care about food that much, that, like, Miriam would be like, hey, you want some chocolate? And she'd try it, and her eyes would just go wide, like, oh!
Yeah, that's also me projecting what it would be, because the fact of the matter is she grew up in the Strike Lands with the Crystal Queen, so she's never really.
Bit
She-
around sweets, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, last character.
For Lyra, so this one's actually fairly easy to answer. It'd be anything that she can put honey on.
Oh.
But not honey itself.
Well, it would be the honey, but she's not just gonna eat honey.
I get
Like,
I mean, why not?
Who's sitting on top of the building? Oh, bother.
She's more into spicy food, but if she was to eat something sweet, I'd say it would be honey, and I would also go further into that, and that would be a conflict in her life, because that would be really bad for her throat on a short-term basis, which means that whenever she's celebrating with people, she loves to sing, she would not be able to enjoy having honey.
Aw.
So I imagine like honey in tea or honey in drinks would probably be the main way that she would like to enjoy it.
Yeah. That's real nice. To the most beautiful despot in all the Strike Lands, the Crystal Queen. We know she has convinced some hobgoblin to join her forces. Are there any other noteworthy non-spoilery units under her command? Additionally, does she lead from the front line, or does she sip from a cup of tea while watching?
I don't think tea's in her cup is all, though.
So, as I said earlier, she has a lot of werebeast. Creatures of the night tend to flock to her for reasons the party may have recently walked themselves into. She has a lot of night-based creatures, undead and such, that are following her. Creatures that are based in necromancy. Creatures that lead very tribal lives, like hobgoblins, ogres, goblinoids, would be drawn to her inherently just because she has a certain ability to seize control and maintain it. But she also doesn't impose that much in the way of laws or regulations on the lands that she's taking over. So she basically gives them free reign. So she easily adds them to her forces. Beyond that, I mean, she had a dragon until, 2 sessions ago. She acquired a dragon as of several sessions ago and doesn't have it anymore as of a couple sessions ago.
That and the fact that Lexi's middle name is now Dragonslayer are completely unrelated, don't worry.
Totally. As far as the frontline stuff, when she first arrived in the Strike Lands, because that's only been going on for a matter of maybe a year at most, she definitely did most of the heavy lifting herself. She did arrive at the Strike Lands with a sizable group of her followers, and the castle she's in, she actually took it and the land it's on from Eldraworm. And she would have done that by hand, but after she had begun taking in hobgoblins and bringing creatures over to her side to do her work, she probably stayed back most of the time. I can't imagine her leaving to go do that when she has to, especially since she can scry on things very easily. So she has no need to directly oversee what she's doing unless it's a very, very important thing. And annexing hobgoblins is not a particular... it's not particularly important to her in terms of showing face.
Entirely fair. Next question is for everyone. What are your favorite PC X NPC interactions and why?
Whoa.
On the record, when there's a group question, I'm choosing to answer last every time, so don't wait for me to talk.
Fair.
I mean, as of late, just anything with Fenris and Tantia has been a fucking treat.
Oh, you're right. That's a good time.
I think Brett is having a ton of fun leaning into that, and that soup's gay energy is my juice.
Yeah. Oh, such a good time.
I don't know anything about that. I can't contribute to that line of conversation.
Oh, heck, and plus, like, on that note, I was talking to you about this other day, Logan. I think that Brett is a ridiculously strong role player, and she's one of the best people at, like, staying in it and not making jokes, and I'm, like, fucking one of the worst for that shit. But,
Yeah.
like, when it's her and Logan doing, like, one-on-one stuff, it's really, really good. They both stay in it so well, and you're just like, oh, like, oh. It's a good time.
Yeah, Bread's one of the better ones among us for not thinking of a joke and then needing to tell it immediately. And because she's not doing that, I don't get sucked into it, which is my issue. But yeah, what is your favorite though, Carrie?
I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think of one that was just like that I wasn't involved in. Like my favorite one that where I was the PC was probably the Zone of Truth with Edrigan, because I was so afraid, but it was one of those things where it's a good kind of afraid. Like, yeah, and I'm like, Carrie, don't fuck this up. You can ruin the entire campaign if you fuck this up. Here we go. Wee! Like, and like me and you got to go and be in our own little call, Logan. So I'm like, we have secrets from the group. It's a good time. But Edrigan was really like, he wasn't like bad copying it. He was being really understanding about stuff and being like, I realize it's an uncomfortable situation and I'm sorry that like Zone of Truth is happening, blah, 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 but I need to know these things so that I can trust you. Just like, yeah, it was really good. I loved that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mine would be fucking Tantia x Fenris. That's
There you
all
go.
of the Tantia.
Bitch.
Oh, sorry. Mine would be Tantia and Fenris. I don't know why I slipped an X in there. Their interactions as of late. I love Tantia and Argo like way more than I ever thought I would. To be like, I knew I was excited for them, but then they showed up and I was like, oh my god, they're perfect. They can do no wrong ever. But I love them so much. They've been very successful as characters. I'm glad that you guys have taken to them the way that you have. And Tantia's incredibly quickly building relationship with Fenris, while I didn't expect that, normally I'm an advocate for things taking a while, it's been coming out so naturally that I'm really about it, and I think it's interesting for Brett as a role player to have that happening, and it's fun for me, because you guys typically don't go too much for the NPC PC stuff, so I'm happy to be involved in that kind of role play as the DM.
I have mainly understood Nat19 like generally as the big shipping D&D thing where like all the characters are X the other characters, but this is perhaps exclusively because of my interactions with Carrie.
Ridiculous. What are you talking about?
I think
On the
not
outside,
shipping
having
Gremlin.
not really participated in very many Nat19 campaigns or watched them, I don't get the full scope of them. So like I just hear about them from you guys, and that my opinion is perhaps perspective is colored by things that I hear, Carrie. So like for Logan to say, you guys don't usually go for the PCX NPC stuff, and I'm like, what?
I know.
When?
There's a lot more PC stuff, and I think Carrie perhaps jokes about it being more common than it is. We are a very shippy
Ridiculous.
bunch, but I feel like we're a very shippy bunch. The characters, they don't always act on everything the player's saying. Like, Brett is in love with fucking every NPC. It's just...
Oh yeah, 100%.
I can't introduce a character of any gender that, unless they're a monster, she's immediately like, always.
Like,
Tantia
even
just
heckin'-
happened.
Even
ahead.
like F. Lewis, who wasn't supposed to be like conventionally attractive, Brett was like,
The
"Oh
Troll
my
King."
God.
I really love that about Brett. But in this particular game, the major successful romances we've had in the past are David and Isla, which you probably heard the most about. That's
my
Carrie.
drug.
I've
Carrie
perhaps
and
heard
Spencer.
about that once or twice.
Once or
Maybe a
twice.
little bit, yeah.
And then there was an NPC PC one between Deco's character in Fate and a servant.
That was beautiful.
And then there was also a Bread NPC one, but that wasn't so much a relationship as much as, hey, I want to have sex, come here.
That's true.
But outside that, there hasn't been a lot. And this one is a lot
How
more
dare
of like
you.
it may be, what?
Campaign 1.
What, Gael
that Archer
Stonewalker?
boy.
Well, do you want me... Oh, Archer. Look, Carrie, I'm not going to just list all of them ever off.
Do it. Do it now.
No.
Oh, you like
Impress
PCX and
me.
PC ships? Name every one.
That wasn't really a ship. That was another they had sex once.
You were just talking about Heck and Diane having sex once.
Yeah,
I'm
I qualified
feeling
it. I qualified it with, and that doesn't count.
Fine, go on. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
This is why I'm not allowed on Chat19.
Yeah, it's okay.
Point
Oh.
is, I love them girls, and Tantia and Fenris are giving me life. And I do want to say, because there's like no other place I'd say this normally, it's actually been really good for mine and Bread's relationship. Because, like, we're friends, and we're close friends and we hang out, but weirdly, ever since this has happened, we've had something to lead into other conversations. We've been in calls a lot more later and talking about it, and it's like, it's been really good for just us hanging out as people and not so much as members of a group, which has been really nice. It also helps that there's, quarantines going on and Bread's not in school every second of every day.
Right? That's
The point of this Chat19 is, you go, Bread.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, the theme of this Chat19 is, he's great. Bread.
Bread.
Like, it's like,
I can't wait for
Speaking-
like a day or two from now when she sees this and loses her mind.
oh yeah,
Oh.
she's just gonna be screaming at us.
Speaking of absolutely wonderful women that we all love.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding the critically acclaimed best queen to be tortured by, aka Crystal Queen. Is Queen just a self-proclaimed title, or does she actually have a kingdom? If she does, how is the kingdom present in its inhabitants' lives, such as fiscal rules and conscription and justice codes, etc.?
Jeez.
So, I should have just brought like a pamphlet of Crystal Queen stuff.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Have you heard about her
So,
Lord and Savior, the Crystal Queen?
the Crystal Queen, it is self-proclaimed, but it's not far off from what people had been calling her. She, the players recently learned, she didn't start out in the Strike Lands. She started out in Sermonway, a southern country in Retia, the continent that the game takes place in. And she had some kind of castle. I'm using vague terms because they haven't been there. Some kind of castle or fortress that was down in the tundras, effectively the Antarctic of our game. And she was well known for being there. Certain people knew about her. Argo knew about her. And she did have like a small kingdom, quote unquote. But it's like a kingdom in the Strahd sense of a kingdom of people that were forcibly adjacent and didn't really have the means to leave so much. There wasn't really a form of government so much as do not cross her. Do not, like, her and her court have their way there. Comply with this and you get what you want. She didn't tax them. She didn't, like, claim anything. She didn't make them grow things. But she did, frequently, and the players recently learned this through Argo, she did abduct people from the surrounding communities and force them to work as slaves for some project she had going on. If she eventually gained the title Crystal Queen as this enigmatic woman in the snow figure that lived down there who is almost more of a myth than she was a proper person. And then eventually she disappeared. And then she popped up in the Strike Lands and began conquering. And she has not established any kind of government or kingdom there. She just basically has her encampment, which is a fortress she stole from Elderworm, and then modified. And then beyond that, it's just she's taking land and she has yet to establish a proper dominion. As for fiscal rule, conscription, justice code, like I said, it all falls under. It's entirely based on her own power. Like, she hasn't set any laws in place. It's just been, if you get in the way of the Crystal Queen, you have an understanding that you will probably be killed. This extends out to the people that she has hired and are working for her as well.
It's kind of an interesting sort of government, air quotes, I use it very loosely.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't sound like there's middlemen or like infrastructure work or like really anything to make sure that the random like nameless thousands that are around her generally are like kept in line or like are doing a good job or like aren't betraying or attacking each other. It's just like, yeah, y'all do you, and the second that this becomes a problem for me, instant death.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she establishes control. Her main thing is to take control of whatever the governing power is, like, and that can mean anything. In the main case, it meant there's a hobgoblin army that wanders around the Strike Lands, conquering and losing land constantly. One of the first things she did was she absorbed them into her forces so that the land that they currently controlled, she's like, it's mine. You go back to controlling it, I don't care, but know that you're doing it for me. Yeah, and beyond that, if a community had anything of great value, like, let's say, this isn't a specific example, but let's say they had some storehouse that they had, like, an old artifact in, she would likely seize that upon taking it, but beyond that, she wouldn't do much. Apart from, she is still taking people as slaves. That's definitely going on.
Fair. Entirely fair. And we don't know to what ends yet, correct?
No, the players have no idea why she has been building up a workforce, or where they've gone, or what they were doing either in Retia or in the Strike Lands.
Gotcha. That's totally fair. That's a neat little thing. I don't know nothing about no Strike Lands, so it's cool to hear about inner workings of stuff every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Next question is for the players. Which NPCs do you think have had the most impact on the PCs at the highest standard?
Oh.
You got favorites?
Hmm.
Who do you think has changed your life the most?
I mean, like, in terms of, like, Lexi, NPCs that haven't showed up yet, like, would be Kevin. Because she's, like, looking for him, and that's her best friend and whatnot. I think, Alzandi? Ones that have shown up? Because that was, like, surprise, brother, Lexi! And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a whole heckin' thing. Especially because, like, she's super curious about everything, and whenever she was like, so you have things to tell me, and he was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. What things do you want to know? It's whatever. Like, he was super casual about stuff, and she's just like, but so much information that I don't know where to start. Give me information. Oh, and then the whole thing with the Esper and him becoming a fox pretty much all the time. It's kind of freaked her out a little bit. Not gonna lie. It's pretty scary. But I'm trying to think in terms of not Lexi.
Could you go into more detail about the Esper and, quote, him turning into a fox all the time? Because I don't know
you watch
anything
our
about
show.
that.
You know exactly what we're talking about, Jason.
It's the exact opposite of that, actually, Carrie. I don't watch it.
Like, imagine the facial expression behind him, just like eyes dart to the side, then back, then just mouths. What?
What? No, she mentioned.
I heard about an Esper one time.
Yeah. Oh. I'm trying to remember exactly why.
If only there was someone who knew
I
exactly
just
what
remember it
his name
happening.
actually
I know, right? If only. What was it he was asking the Esper for? Was it to not work
Freedom.
for the family anymore? Was that it? Freedom? I thought that. I
Yeah,
was
he
like,
wanted
yeah.
the collar off.
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted his collar off, that's what it was. Heckin' Cassandra spies who work for the family chase. They're all fitted with little shock collars so that they can't run away. And it's really heckin' sad. And he wanted his shock collar off so he didn't have to go back to the family. And he wished for that from the Esper, but the Esper always wants something in return. And that's what he had to give up. I think he can be a human for a minute.
A minute a day.
A minute a day, yeah.
Yeah, to summarize that effectively, Cassandra are normally humanoid fox people that can turn into foxes for periods of time. And what he offered her was more poetic than it was anything actually like physical. It was in exchange for his freedom. It would be switched where the shock collar would come off, but his situation would be changed so that he would be permanently a fox that could assume human form for a minute a day. And he can go past the minute, but as soon as he does, the deal is broken and the collar will reappear on him.
Oh, jeez.
So he is hanging out just being a lazy fox now.
It's kind of wonderful.
He's
But
free, but
he's
he's
free.
trapped as a fox.
Yeah. It's heckin' beautifully tragic. And Lexi's like trying to bond with him, but obviously wanting so much information from him is not really gonna work out now because Fox. So all she can really kind of do is just occasionally turn into a fox and be like, "Bah, we should play." And sometimes he's about that, and sometimes he's not. Most of the time, he's not.
I was wondering if he could like communicate with you in any way while he's a fox.
That's a
Sounds
question.
like no.
When Cassandra bork at each other, can they understand each other?
Yeah, you can understand fox.
Oh.
Well, you can understand Kitsadria. If you talk to a normal fox, you couldn't understand them, but if you talk to a Kitsadria, they have a, they sound like a fox to anybody else, but they're speaking their own language. And you could understand that, yeah.
Me to bork it. Heckin' Elzandi. A whole bunch.
Changed her plans for the immediate future.
I have! Oh, here we go!
The NPC that had the most impact on a PC turned out to be Chase.
It's true!
The real
Oh,
NPCs are the friends we made along the way.
oh jeez.
Oh,
But yeah,
Aaron, do
that's-
you have anyone noteworthy you want to talk about?
Thinking about all the NPCs in the campaign so far,
Right? There's so many.
if I'm thinking about the PCs of the highest standard as a whole, I'd have to say either the Esper or Elmira, because both have had people ask themselves questions that I don't think even the players had asked themselves about their characters beforehand. There's a lot that goes into what would you give up to get something you wanted with something like the Esper. And Elmira, specifically, just her presence alone, like, mutates Vogan into something else.
Amazing. It's my favorite.
And he definitely changes because of her presence. And even after she's gone, it still had kind of ramifications that push into his character in other ways. So I think those two had the largest immediate effect, if I had to say anybody.
That's totally fair. It's cool you
Also-
got so many good NPCs in there.
Heckin' another NPC that hasn't shown up who had a huge effect is Heckin' Quintus's dad.
Oh,
Because, dead.
you
Them
know,
not showing up.
perhaps.
I'm just saying.
I might play a person.
His
Ooh.
his death has actually set in motion a lot of things in the party that led to them coming here.
Oh,
Oh.
that's totally fair. Next question is for Logan.
I wonder what it's about.
Okay, so about the strike lands and the queen therein. We only know about the hobgoblin and our beloved and feared crystal queen. Is there anything else noteworthy in the strike lands?
So assuming that this question is asking more about, like, outside of the scope of the Crystal Queen's forces, is there anything else major? There used to be the Hellrock Army, but that is now included under the Crystal Queen. The main other thing was the former head of the Hellrock army, a figure that's known as the Sovereign, that the hobgoblins never met. A lot like the Crystal Queen, they are a person that they have their own forces aside from the hobgoblins, but they use them to try to conquer things, but they are mostly enigmatic, mostly sticking back in this fortress that's this ancient Colosseum. Beyond that, there's no other major political figures. One of the defining features of the Strike Lands is that it is mostly lawless. There's like packs of creatures. There's some little pockets here and there of civilization, of mostly goblinoids, being totally honest. But between the Sovereign and the Crystal Queen, they make up the dominant forces that are there, and the Crystal Queen is currently winning their struggle to take control of the continent.
Gotcha. Are there any notable natural resources, perhaps unique to the Strike Lands, anything like that, that's maybe not related to political forces?
Be a lot of metal. There'd be a lot of like natural deposits of ore underneath it. But beyond that, it's actually relatively desolate, which is why, in history, whenever everything's split into 3 continents, the other governments didn't really care much about the Strike Lands, because there's not a lot there that can't be found elsewhere, apart from a lot of very old natural wonders. Like, aforementioned Colosseum is ancient, like thousands of years old. But if you want to imagine the Strike Lands, think of Australia.
Okay, so like maybe like 5 spots.
Yeah, it's very much 5 spots and everything there can kill you by the standards of D&D.
That's fair. That's entirely fair. I get that. That's cool. Okay. Next question is for the players.
Huh.
Which NPCs are you most interested in having your characters deepen a relationship with, such as personal, professional, or romantic relationship? Who are you trying to talk to more? I know Carrie just talked about having a bork at a boy.
I mean, I got a bork and a boy. Like that's the one. Like,
That's fair.
yeah, like he's like the only one of my siblings that I've found, and I supposedly had 5, but 2 of them I've been told are dead. Right, Logan? Yeah, pretty sure it's 2. So
You got
3
your
could
notes
still
up. What
be
do you need me
alive.
for?
Fucking, I have my notes. I should check.
You asked me if you could log into Fantasy Grounds for this.
I know, and then I didn't fucking. But yeah, no, pretty sure. Yeah, I was right. Yeah, I was correct. It's fine. Yeah. I'm still heckin'. I'm suspicious of Scandal. I feel like Scandal has huge potential to be one of my siblings, but at the same time, I don't want to assume. And it's very different because Elzondi, when he showed up, was very much like, hey, like I'm your sibling, and like I knew about you, and I like took your last name, hoping that you would hear that I took your last name, so that you would be aware of me, so that we could hang out and like know each other. But like Scandal is very, I don't care, I don't know you, I'm doing stuff with Murkwire, I'm Scandal. Like, and she's. Lexi doesn't like her. Like, she's super rude and kind of really hopes that she's not her sibling, but has a horrible feeling that she might be.
That's
Very
fair.
unpleasant person.
Yeah, she is unpleasant. You're super unpleasant and I don't really like you.
Earring. Got any NPCs you talk to?
That's
The
a good one.
the entire underbelly of Summergrass is interesting to Miriam, so seeing more of that would be interesting for him. The morality of it is less of an issue than anything. He's just like, no, this is how cities work, and I'm fascinated to see what they could do. Otherwise,
Aaron,
what?
Explain to Chase who Diane is and why she's interesting.
Diane is she is the secretary of one of the merchant lords. I'd say a close friend of the party, or maybe not a close friend, but an ally to the party. Edrigan. He's pushing for expansion of rights for the fairer races, such as elves, half-orcs, and the like.
Druidic.
the druidic races. And she is his extremely good secretary, with which he would not be where he is without. And she is also the head of a branch of a criminal organization called the Family that operates, well, in a lot of places, but also especially out of Summergrass. They work in trading in illegal magic items for the most part.
Nice. That's real cool.
If not her, Agravane.
Who dat?
Another merchant lord. She saved Lexi and Quinn in a tense moment with the Crystal Queen when we were doing our shenanigans inside her palace when they were caught out. And yeah, she definitely saved their lives. But she's also being pressured by the Crystal Queen herself into sponsoring this long-running hit we've had on us for a while.
That's real cool. That's real cool.
Who's this Crystal Queen figure? We haven't brought her up yet.
More depth about her at some point soon. Next question is for Logan. Okay, so Logan, if Lexi's theory about the Crystal Queen is accurate, does that make Raleigh the Crystal Prince?
I like that. I enjoy that what you have written is not Crystal Prince. But so no. Again, the Crystal Queen. She's not named that in that she intends to pass down the title to anybody. It is purely a title that is based in vanity and arrogance and is meant to denote that she is the ruler. She has no intention of ever either dying or giving her power to anybody else, and if she did come close to death, I very much doubt with her that she would even care about who would take over for her. As far as she was concerned, it is, when she dies, her empire might as well die with her.
Damn.
She also, operating under the assumption that Raleigh is the Crystal Queen's kid, which we don't know for certain.
Theory.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that they met because he had a brand on him, that when he died, his soul, though his body was saved, his soul went to and was trapped in a mirror she had, and her reaction to that was, "Hey, you're back. Do you have the stuff you stole from me? No? Have fun being in a mirror for the rest of time."
Oof.
So any possible thoughts that even if they're related, that she cares about Raleigh to any great extent or considers him an extension of anything to do with herself is very wrong.
But is it perhaps a sort of motherly apathy?
You go to your room for the rest of time and think about what you did.
He's never gonna learn.
He'll never learn. She was going to be, unless she needed something from him, she would have been totally content leaving him in there and never even communicating with him again. So, I would not say that he has the right to any sort of title, even assuming that that is true.
I mean, it makes sense. Didn't she, like, send him away, like, when he was a baby? Just, like, fucking get out of here. If the theory is correct.
Yeah, if we are to assume the theory is correct, then the backstory is very much that, as a toddler, she appeared to Cantabile, dropped him off, said, "I don't want this, and I'm leaving," and never came back.
So I really think this theory about the Crystal Queen and Raleigh being related has some legs here. I think we're really...
Dude, that's why I needed to talk about it, like a whole bunch of shit. I was like, this is lining up, man. I need to mention this to somebody. Like, fucking ooh.
Oh, it's a good time.
It was a good time.
Oh. Next question is just for Aaron.
Oh, you're so special.
Dear God.
Dear Miriam, hypothetically speaking, would knowing that the Crystal Queen...
I knew it! I knew it was going to be about the Crystal Queen somehow!
Knowing that the Crystal Queen herself, everyone's favorite tyrant, best queen to be tortured by Crystal Queen, Can instantly kill an adult white dragon make you feel any differently about your current situation?
Miriam's very passively terrified. I can't imagine he'd get any more passively terrified. He's seen her make one attack visually ever, and it caused giant ice spikes to fly after Elmira and out a portal after them. He's acutely aware that if he is in a room with her for a moment, that she has complete and utter power to just annihilate him off the planet. So I can't say that would change his current opinion of it. He has a very, like, lackadaisical attitude towards such things, but that's just because he's lived a life where he's like, oh, I can fucking die whenever. He's still scared. He's just not gonna quake in his boots about it, because that's not useful to him.
Yeah, fair. I guess if, like, the DM was saying, like, you'll take 1,000 damage, it's like, alright, that's a lot. At that point, it can really be any number. It's like 1,000 or 1,000,000. It's mostly irrelevant. Your character's dying either way.
Yeah.
It was a young adult dragon.
Okay. But adult is in the name. I think this theory really has some legs.
And it was killed with a vorpal sword.
And it...
See this right here? This is exactly why.
This is not Logan. This is I have infiltrated the call to make a correction. You'll find that Ultraworm, as a young adult dragon, did not have legendary actions or resistances, and as a result could be affected by the vorpal sword that the Crystal Queen carries, which is why that worked. Oh, my connection!
Whomever you are, correction.
I was
gremlin,
knocked out
get
from
out of
behind.
here.
That person shouldn't be allowed back on Chat19, I think.
Logan, since you were knocked out, I would like to catch you up on what you missed. That person came in and said that the Crystal Queen can instantly kill an adult white dragon, and that she's very terrifying and powerful.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh man, that person was wrong. But we'll move on.
I'm not the kind of person to correct something like
I mean, they might be able to. I'm not saying they can. I'm just saying based on what you saw. Oh no, I'm falling back into it. Oh.
Oh, that's fair though.
This is why. Twice a year, I'll get to do this. Once every 6 months, I'll get to come on here and be a nuisance.
Aww.
Oh. But yeah, instant death does sound pretty terrifying. I get you.
Yeah, it's totally fair.
It's, yeah, I mean, and again, in the scale of a dragon, like, before she killed the dragon, I was aware she could kill me with probably a hit or two. So the dragon has, even in the meta, changed none of my perception, let alone what Miriam's seen. He's like, no, she could kill me instantly. It's that's his default position always.
Dude,
Also-
I love Miriam so much. Like, especially, like, with, like, Blister and heckin' Argo, when it was just like, you had sex in the Crystal Queen's bed and stole her armor, and Miriam's just like, no regrets! Like, fucking, shit's ridiculous.
Can't walk that shit back now. It's like, I can't just go and be like, yeah, sorry about that. Just give it back. So at some point you gotta commit to YOLO, because what else are you gonna do?
Ridiculous.
Also, just like from what I'm hearing with the scant few questions you received about the Crystal Queen, you know, best tyrant to be tortured by, etc. Crystal Queen. Like, to assume that she would instantly kill someone she was very upset with seems like that might even be a stretch.
That would be quite a mercy for her.
Yeah.
Wow, lucky you! You got instantly killed.
Yeah, she's a villain, so I assume she already doesn't obey a lot of the spell rules. So I figure she'll kill me instantly, take me home, resurrect me, bleed me out, resurrect me, and then do all sorts of horrible things to me.
Probably.
Well,
Miriam just watching the adult white dragon get instantly killed by her, going, "God, I wish that were me."
I mean, but the thing is, that white dragon was then revived, had its wings cut off, and was sent after the group by her. So,
Well, Logan,
he's on the money.
mentioned that, so I didn't know that was the thing that happened.
Yep, yeah, she threw a young adult dragon at us.
Oh.
Apparently, it didn't have much of a fly speed, though. All right, that's
Yeah, no.
all right, fair. That's fun.
Yep. And then,
All right.
we taunted
For-
like the smart people that we are.
Perfect. So now we have officially passed this segment of the podcast.
No!
Questions.
Welcome to chapter 2.
Boom, boom.
Oh, Logan, who would Mary Mist, Murkwire, Masterwork, and Vogan's Master currently wife if they had to wife someone?
Masterwork.
It's
not like
him.
So
That's how the question is phrased, and I don't know the distinction.
so I'm gonna walk us back to an earlier topic real quick. So
Is it the Crystal Queen?
MARYMIST.
There you go.
MIRKWIRE. I've seen Murkwire spelled Murkwire before,
Yeah.
and I don't say anything because I have things to do in my day. But it's on screen. Okay, so who would Mary Mist, Murkwire, Legum, and Vogan's Master wife currently? Alright, so Mary Mist has absolutely no interest in anybody currently. Chase,
Yes.
if they had to, like, if this is of all the people they know, even if, like, their romance meter is on a scale of, like, 1 to 100 and the highest they have is, like, a 6, should I be treating this as, like, who is that 6?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Who is that 6 that is not currently a sentient book?
Logan? Is it Logan? Is it Logan? Tell me it's Logan.
So, regarding people in the party,
Uh-huh.
because it would be one of the people in the party.
Uh-huh.
It would probably be Vogan.
We got there, boys!
And I think the reason for that is she's had the most physical contact with Vogan, i.e. the once. Vogan tends to leave her alone when she wants to do things. Vogan hasn't basically told her what to do, which Quintus has sort of kind of been a bit of a dad a couple of times to her so far, and she doesn't particularly care for that. But she is also used to savagery, so Vogan's actually very familiar to her in terms of the people she's used to being around. So it'd probably be Vogan. For Murkwire,
I'm so happy right now.
I can't tell you.
Oh, can't tell us.
Oh, have
No,
they
I
not
can't tell
shown
you.
it
I get
up
that.
yet? Or...
For Legum,
Damn
it would probably be his employer/patron. It would be probably Lilywind. But again, that's another. They've picked a series of people that are so not interested in romance to ask this about. Like,
I'm not sure why they asked that, though, to be fair.
yeah, that may be. Probably Legham would be Lilywind, one of the merchant lords and the daughter of the current High Lord.
Damn, he's aiming high. Ooh.
I mean, he's not. It's just he would aim high if he had
was
to.
going
Aim.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, sure.
And as far as Almyra,
Are we gonna go back to our topic? Is it gonna be the Crystal Queen?
Come back to chapter 1. No.
this is more complicated to answer than.
Uh-huh.
It's not Dolos.
Can I?
Oh, shit.
This is there's a battle in my brain going on right now for like how much should I say?
I mean, like you
so
said,
it's not even a matter of like I'm not sure. It's a matter of
No, if I was to pick the person that she knows that she's been around that she would have the most affection for, that she would go for, I know exactly who it is. But I'm very much like, is this something that I should say?
I mean, Logan, you only get to do this once every 6 months. You want to
Because
give us
I'm
that
killing
tea.
time right now. Oh, this is murdering.
fine.
This is one of the reasons I'm not allowed on Chat19.
Don't give.
Okay, it would be Satsumaru.
I knew it.
I won't I won't
Yeah.
that which
This is
for
still in the
Chase.
context of if it's on a 1 to 100, even if it's a 6, they still.
I
like
know,
I
but I'm
won't.
happy
I
about
won't
it.
go deeper into that or the reasons why. But
That's
for your context, Chase, Satsumaru is the Crystal Queen.
What? The Crystal Queen, best queen to be tortured by Strikeless Crystal Queen? Wow.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. The most investment in all the Strikelands Crystal Queen? Wow.
I will note I'm limiting the answer to people that you guys know.
Mm.
And I am doing some mental gymnastics to answer that one. But
Well, context is totally irrelevant here, and you heard it here first.
Yeah.
True.
Would wife the Crystal Queen,
Yeah.
as would we all, honestly. Really.
Yeah, like, let's be honest, all of us would.
Yeah.
I
Let's
had to
do
be viciously murdered. I mean, that's up.
Boy, gladly be destroyed by the Crystal Queen. Damn.
I would say gladly, but
murder me.
if I had to be viciously murdered.
Oh. Speaking of absolutely vicious, dear Miriam, would you say you were crushed by Fenris thinking you were no big deal?
Damn! Go on.
I forgot about that. No, not really. He would be like, "Ah, you've cut me to the quick" in the moment, but he's like, "Yeah, whatever." he got like startle fucked, so he can't really be like, oh no, I thought we were something special. He's like,
Oh.
yeah, okay. I've been called a lot worse than nothing special.
Damn! Part of that, though, I feel like some of that's just Brad trying to word it like, it's casual. Like,
Yeah.
our like,
Oh,
that
absolutely.
didn't mean anything. She didn't mean Miriam is
No,
no big
part of
deal,
the
but
reason I
Miriam
jumped on
being
it
who
when
he
she
is.
offhandedly said that was because I knew I could probably get some fluster out of Brad.
Yeah!
But overall, that is no deep wound for him. They smashed once. He's been very open about it to the point of annoying her because he never considered it some big thing. He's like, no, I was surprised, but hell yeah, do it again.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah. Next question is for Logan.
Ah!
So we know Mary Miss likes to read, and
Hmm.
likely a 4-digit number of books that she has read. But what are her favorite genres? Such as fiction,
Oh.
mystery, romance, maybe romance.
So, fiction. She's very academic and she likes to study, which is where she basically became a wizard, and that she gets on like just paths mentally where she's like, I want to learn to do new things. But when she's reading just to read, she likes fiction. Even in a world filled with dragons and sorcery, she still likes to read about things that are like truly fantastic and beyond comprehension. She's really big into. She has a very vivid imagination. She doesn't really express it that much. As far as the genre within that, she would probably be into, I would say romantic, like adventure fantasy would be her main go-to thing, because again,
Nice.
she likes imagining, like, she spent a lot of time trapped in the Crystal Queen's area. It's not really giving away too much, I suppose, to the group, but she was in the tundras with the Crystal Queen, and then went to the Strikelands with her. So she spent her entire life either in a frozen castle in the tundra, and then going to a large fortress that was terraforming the area around it in the middle of a desert in Australia, is basically what you can think of. So her world's been very boring for the most part. She likes to read about, like, canyons and, like, jungles, forests, like deep caverns fill like ancient cities. And then she also didn't get to experience many people, so her mind also very much wanders to people in these wild, elaborate, like trysts and these complicated, like, love hexagons.
Dude, I was about to be like, oh, Mary Miss spent a bunch of time in the tundra. Maybe she's Raleigh's mom. And then I was like, no.
Yes,
But no, for a fact, she's younger than
19-year-old youngest NPC in the game, Mary Mist, is the mom of 30-some-year-old Raleigh.
Of course.
This tracks.
But Yeah, she lives vicariously through her books. It's a form of escapism that even though she has now escaped from where she was trying to, it's still how she copes with life.
Oh, I love her so much.
That's a good time. Logan, the next question, I would ask that you remain as quiet as possible.
Will do. Sitting down. In fact, muting.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
So I hope that he still hears. I believe he does. He's just muting. He's not deafening.
That's true. That's true.
The next question is for the player.
Uh-oh.
I just heard from through the hallway. Yes.
That's incredible. Next
What
question.
a good boy.
Next question. It's for the players.
Huh.
Top 3 NPCs that you think will betray the party.
Diane. It's number 1, Diane. Who else is gonna? I don't think Lyra's gonna do
Scandal?
that. She's Scandal
You
is
think
not.
Scandal's gonna do this? Yeah.
Gotta
Scandal-
trust someone for
I
them
was-
to betray you.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That's
Scandal
fair.
has made no fucking effort to be like, I'm on your side. She's very much like, I don't care. I couldn't give less of her shit. I want to trust Edrigan real bad. So I think
Oh, that means he's most likely to betray you.
I know exactly.
Like, yeah.
Like, fine.
Aaron said it. You gotta trust someone for them to betray you.
Oh, I know. Oh. I'm trying to think who else. Elmira's not gonna do that. She's gonna you shut up.
She's one of my answers.
Really?
Oh,
sure.
How dare you? Can't believe you talked that way about Vogan's mom.
We know she wants to bone the Crystal Queen.
Yo, right? Jeez.
just
And
heard
the
about it.
Crystal Queen is nothing but good. We all know this.
She's very trustworthy, being that she's the best queen to be tortured by most beautiful despot in all the strike lands.
It's true, yeah. She's perfect.
Critically acclaimed.
Oh, I need to pick one more. Tyvergrim's not gonna betray us.
No.
Yeah, no, he's
Quintus' dad, even though he's dead.
even though
Yo, fucking plot twist.
Oh,
oh, can you imagine? Oh, and it's NPC, so it can't be like Raleigh. No, I'm kidding.
top 3
I need
top
one
3
more.
PCs that you think will betray the party.
Raleigh, that's it.
Raleigh.
No, he's become a good boy. I like Raleigh right now.
Raleigh, Aristo.
Yo, yeah. Oh my god. Fuck, I need one more. I need one more NPC that I think is gonna betray us. Oh. Dude, just because it would be really, really good. Tantia. Like if Ferris ended up really liking Tantia and then she fucking stabbed us in the back. Oh, so good. It'd be wonderful. Yeah. Diane,
Aaron, you have your own.
Tantia, and who else did I say? Shit.
Uh-huh.
Fuck, whatever, Aaron, go.
Elmira.
No!
Number one. Ooh.
Immediately, Elmira.
Ooh.
I don't think she would. This isn't vindictive. Blah, I've deceived you. Much like my number 2, Lyra.
You're saying all the ones that I was like, I think they're good girls. Goddamn!
I think they're good people, but they also have their own objectives in life, and especially with Elmira, less so with Lyra. She's not exactly like they're in different leagues. I think Elmira is looking for constellaquaries, and she wants to get a lot of them to see if she can make some shit happen. And when you're aiming for that kind of thing, you're going to be bumping heads with a lot of people, and we're getting them. Like, the fact of the matter is, she's like, I'm gonna need those at some point, which means at some point she's gonna be like, hand it over, or you're coming with me and helping me, one or the other. But I'm not taking no for an answer here. So while even she might not see it as a betrayal, because she's very open with that. She even said, hey, I'm gonna need those. I think it's definitely going to be something people will conveniently forget about because they like her. Lyra really wants her heckin' violin back, and if that got dangled in front of her, she might fuck us over a little bit. She'd be like, as long as they're okay. Number 3, who would betray us?
For my third one, I want to say Agravain.
Aggravate again. You gotta trust someone for them to betray you.
Well, I mean, she was really, really nice to me and Quintus.
She's forthright
so Lexi
and
thinks that
honest.
She's a good person. Yeah.
But she lives in the city of Brass, which, if it holds up to the city of Brass I know, isn't ideal. And she worked with the Crystal Queen. She's not exactly a rock solid moral character. She's a businesswoman at the end of the day, and that's why, at least I, and through me, Miriam has no regard for Aggravate as a person to trust.
Oof.
Okay. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Okay, Logan.
I was gonna say Logan's just in the background, like,
Yes,
knowing exactly
I'm
who's
back.
gonna betray them.
Yes, thank you, Logan. Appreciate you. I have a reward for your patience on that question.
Oh.
I got 2 back-to-back Argo questions for you.
Oh shit!
Oh, that's a reward for me.
You have a question for my character in the campaign? Wonderful. Let's do this.
First question for Argo. How do you feel about Miriam?
Ooh.
Follow-up question, which I believe was somewhat answered earlier. Is Argo interested in males, females, or both, or anything else?
Okay, so their interactions so far. Argo has singled out Miriam as being the most laid back of the group, and as such, because the others are a lot, Lexi is full of energy and very bouncy. Fenris, he doesn't know if he can get a lot. He didn't know if he could get a lot out of. Vogan walks around with a hood pulled up, so he doesn't really know what his deal is. Raleigh, he's actually known as a Dompier since he came to the city, because he can just sense undead. And Quintus is loud and very verbose and not Argo's speed. So Miriam, being both willing to chat, being a very casual person, was the person that Argo is singled out as being like, you are, if I was to interact with this group, you are the best person to talk to, because you don't just suddenly start yelling in the middle of fucking everything you say. Obviously, the question is framed in a shippy sense. I would say Argo doesn't think about that very much. He's very flirty. He's very, if things happen, they happen. And Miriam, out of the group, again, he would have the most interest in Miriam. And I don't want to lead anything into being like, and he does. If he does, I'm just not saying so. I'm not denying it, but I'm not confirming it either. But Argo's very laid back. He doesn't like to work for things if he doesn't have to. So when he's around Miriam, he enjoys like verbal jousting. He enjoys bouncing off of his energy. And as the DM, I found that Argo and Miriam's style of talking complement each other very well. I think a lot of that comes down to that just Aaron and I are very, very comfortable with one another in that regard. So I think that comes out in their relationship.
Dude, going back to that NPC's PC thing that I liked. That shit, that was so good. Oh my god.
I think in any given situation where Argo had to interact with the group, be it on a personal level or professional level, he would probably try to contact them via Miriam, or if he had to like call one out to come have a meeting, he'd be like, send Miriam, I want to talk to them. But as for the second part, as for if he likes males, females, or both, I've talked about it before, I think, very briefly. In the past, like a while back, whenever Tantia and Argo first started before they started Iocane, but when they were acting together to hunt undead, they hit a point where their friendship was so strong that they thought they had romantic feelings for one another. And they tried to date, and they tried to get involved, and they're both beautiful, charismatic people. Oh. So it didn't take long before the two of them got sexually involved. And when they did, they realized that neither of them were super into it. And this will never come up in-game because it's such an NPC backstory thing. But they hit a point where they understood that they had a ridiculous amount of love for one another, but that it wasn't really romantic, that they were just mistaking it for that. It was... and what came with that was a sense of, given that, if those two couldn't love each other, it wasn't them. There had to be something else at play. And both of them pretty readily from that realized that they weren't interested in the opposite gender, and they went back to being super crazy suicidal best friends. And that's a long way of saying Tantia likes girls, Argo likes guys. They've had the best possible of the other gender and realized they weren't into it.
Totally fair.
I love them both so much. It's ridiculous.
And now they're just mega bros. Now they're just super skeleton punching, mega suicidal super bros.
Heck
Dude,
yeah, that's
like,
the best kind of
any-
relationship.
Any interactions between both of them, like me and Barb were just messaging each other during, being like, "Yo, they siblings, like they gotta be. That's some brother sister energy going on there." And Logan's like, "No, shut up."
Nope.
Like,
They're just as close as you could possibly be, and as comfortable with each other as you could possibly be.
they're adorable. Like, oh,
What a good
But
time.
I don't think it's weird though that you thought that the incredibly chummy, non-romantic, white-haired, similarly dressed characters were siblings though. It's not a stretch to arrive at that.
Mhm. Second Argo question.
yeah.
Where did you learn to wield your scythe? Is the weapon related to wanting to hunt the undead, e.g. vampires?
So, Argo actually stole that
Mm.
as part of his backstory, to keep this very brief. Good the parties know about this. He used to live in the tundras to the south of Sermon Way with his family, and his family was captured and enslaved by the Crystal Queen, and he got away, but only after his family was worked to death. On his way out, he managed to steal that scythe, and it's actually what he used to fight his way out of there. He's an Aasimar. He was contacted by his guide around that time and was given instructions as to where to find it, how to use it, and how to escape. And he did. It has a name that he doesn't know. It's a pseudo-sentient weapon. As for learning to use it, attuning to it and spending years with it was basically enough, but for the most part, it just intuitively understands him, which is why, and Chase, you don't know how he has a scythe that floats around him. And even when he's knocked unconscious, it can still act. He doesn't so much use it as much as he just commands it to do what needs to be done, and it fills in the blanks.
Gotcha. Okay.
But after getting it, he did take on a bit of a very soft, Grim Reaper-esque motif. Not that he's steering into being super, edgy about it, in my opinion, but he went down the path of, he became a Grave Domain cleric and dresses in black armor. But he sort of resembles what one would think he's hunting, and that's something of an intentional choice on his part.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Damn.
Next question is for the players. For archival purposes, to see how things may change in the future,
I love
What-
questions like this.
what are the players or player characters' immediate first impressions of High Lord Morian?
Santa.
Pretty much seen.
There was a few people who already voiced that they thought he might be the dragon.
Yeah.
Which we encountered recently. I'm back and forth on it because it's definitely possible that fits a dragon's MO, but Legum is just as likely a candidate for me, so I'm like, fuck it, I don't know. I'm not gonna think about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dragons do weird shit, man, and one
you're
just being
right.
like, I'm going to be the best blacksmith in the fucking world. Seems like a dragon thing to do.
I'm gonna be the best Santa in the fucking world.
Here I go, being the best saint.
Well, I can't speak a lot to the personal life of the character because we've only seen him chuckling at a distance. But given the people he surrounds himself with, I can't imagine he's been anything but good for the city. Given that in what is, in fact, it's the only major city we've been to in the game so far, and it's the central hub of the country, effectively. There's a lot of racism going around, but his two right-hand men is Agravain and Adragan, both of whom would be a part of the Druidic races, and a lot of them are also putting their hats in to succeed him. So while there could always be political motivations behind that quell unrest and things, And that's definitely something Merriam would have in the back of his mind. I, as a player, see him as a person who cares about the citizens of his city, regardless of who they are. And if I had to guess, I'm sure he's quite happy that people like Aggravated Edrigan are trying to succeed him.
That's a good time. Carrie, do you have other thoughts, or is that pretty much?
No, that was heckin' beautiful and eloquent and stuff. I'm just there being like, "That's a dragon." That
That's
right
Dragon Santa.
That Santa's a dragon. That's a Santa
Santa's
dragon.
Listen to his jolly chuckle. That's Santa dragon right there.
Ho 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 and whatnot. Frost breath.
It's a brass dragon.
Wonderful.
This is why you're not allowed here.
Ho, fire breath.
Man, something's up with High Lord Morans.
Logan, if this brass dragon is a Santa, then channeling the spirit of Christmas and the power of control, it could definitely also do an ice breath.
He's correct.
To stay on brand, he casts Investiture of Ice and fires the cone from his mouth.
Oh.
Next question is for Logan.
Oh, thank God we have one of those here.
Oh, I know. So we all know that Journey loves the party and are his favorites in the guild hall. Why won't he be joining the highest standard?
So he won't be, is the short answer. Almost ever. Do you think that the question is being sarcastic?
When will he be joining the highest standard?
Because I hope the question is being sarcastic.
Is he on his way? Is there a journey?
Oh, damn.
The campaign started with Journey. He is ambivalent towards the party. He has no favorites, and he's already in a guild.
Entirely fair.
He is the head of the Dragging Dagger precisely because he had an illustrious past as a basically a royal guard, part of what's called the Building Guard, left that, and then was part of an adventuring guild that most of them got killed and they retired, and in retiring he was like, well, I'm a Warforged and I've got quite a long half-life on me, so I don't know, there's paperwork here to do. So he took over from the last owner. So he's not joining any guilds.
But when highest stat? No.
But when, right? I don't know.
We always get our man. We'll get him.
When Lexi becomes elected High Lord and makes it law that he must join the highest standard.
Damn.
There you
go.
go.
Well, now we got a new goal, boys. Here we go.
We go. All right. Next question. And last question for the players. And it's a big one.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna mute.
If any of the other party members were ever affected by amnesis, would you kill them or trap them in hopes of finding a cure? How would you feel if your character was affected by amnesis and the rest of the party wanted to do either thing to your character?
Oh my god.
Oof.
Heckin' oof. Okay, I'm trying to think. So what we know of amnesis, or the heck you say it, it like degrades. There's like a level of it.
Yeah.
So there's like a time frame of when someone's kind of still okay.
I think you and Fenris would last the longest out of everyone in the party.
You think? Why?
You two have the highest wisdom.
Ah, fair.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I know Fenris does because she's a cleric, but
Yeah, like
I think your perception's really high as well.
Yeah. But yeah, so in knowing that, depending on the stages, like where they were, like if they'd like just caught it, it would be a locking up situation, I think. And then we would do nothing else but try to find a cure for them. But if, oh my god, if it happened to Lexi, oh, she wouldn't want to feel like a burden in any way, so she'd probably opt for them to kill her. Which is very hypocritical, because she'd want to lock them up.
Depends who it was.
Isn't it funny how the answer to these questions is almost exactly the opposite of what the players would want to have done to them.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a thing of, I'm kind of derailing here. Chase had to step away, it looks like, but
No, it's fine, go.
I find it very interesting, personally, that a lot of times when there's questions asked of people that are in, you know, sort of heroic adventuring circumstances, where they're asked, if this thing happened, if the character caught this plague or whatnot, would you help them or instantly kill them? People will almost always want the opposite for them that they would do for their friends. They would almost always be like...
Weird.
They would almost always be like, oh, I'd lock them up and try to help them. But if they're like, if you got it, they'd be like, kill me. I don't want to be a problem.
Yeah.
It's like... And then, like, flip side, if their answer is like, kill them, they're usually of the disposition that they're like, but if I get it, I want to find a cure.
Damn.
Like, it's just an interesting thing of people almost always... the impulse is to look out for others in both situations, or to throw everyone else under the bus, and it's very intriguing.
Depending on who you are, yeah.
I bought time for you, Chase.
Oh, that'd be-
I appreciate you.
Oh my god.
So,
It would be
with
so
knowing what y'all know about amnesis, is it, like, do you believe it to be contagious enough that you're immediately a threat?
Yeah, it's hyper contagious.
It's really,
Yeah.
really contagious.
So,
think
like, yeah,
You...
second you get it,
Yeah,
that's a thing.
that's it, yeah.
Oh, you guys might have already mentioned this. Apologies, I had to step away for a second. But would your character feel okay if the rest of the party decided to, like, indefinitely trap you somewhere and /or kill you outright if they found out that you had it?
I would feel okay. Marion would not feel okay.
No?
No, he'd fucking... He's not a person that likes being locked up or told really what to do. Authority means very little to him. If you say you have to do X, he'll probably be more likely to do Y because fuck you. Yeah, I think if everyone locked him up, he'd be upset about it. I don't know if he'd immediately escape or try, but he would resist. I think it'd be very interesting. So as a player, I think that's my juice, is that kind of drama. In the same way that I think as a player, what most likely would happen, and this is my guess just based off the party, is the discussion would happen exactly like this, where everybody would be like, oh, I don't know, this is a really fucking hard decision. No one would come to a definite conclusion, and they'd end up carrying the person along with them for the meantime anyway, until they got bad enough that they started literally becoming a danger to everyone around them, at which point it becomes a thing of, now we have to do this, and then, you know, we get to watch a bunch of us cry on stream.
Yay!
Dude, Lexi's like the exact opposite in that regard of being told what to do. She's been told what to do for so long that she's very comfortable doing as she's told. It's kind of hard for her to do the opposite, to try to think for herself, because she hasn't for so long. So if everybody was like, this is a problem, you need to be locked away, she would be upset about it because she spent a good chunk of her life being locked away. But she'd do it. Like, no questions asked. Probably wouldn't even complain about it. She would just do it.
I get that. What if it was like, we gonna kill you?
Yeah. She'd be like, if that's what everyone's decided and is for the best, yeah, I get it. Be so sad about it. And oh my god. And I feel like that would hurt Fenris and Quintus the most to even, like, Logan too, but Fenris and Quintus would be very vocal about how much it upsets them. I think Vogan would just be kind of grumpy, grunting about the fact in the background. Yeah. Not sure how Miriam feels about Lexi at this point, Aaron. Who knows? Who's to say?
Keep guessing, nerd.
I'm trying, man. Oh. But yeah, that's a horrible, horrible question. Whoever asked it is a monster.
Last question for Logan.
Bong bong.
can you hit us with a bit of vague yet ominous foreshadowing for what's to come?
The party has made a lot of enemies up until this point. Including enemies that I think have slipped most of their minds. There's been a lot of small transgressions that they've made. And there's a bigger picture to what's going on that... I'm not saying it's obvious or right in front of them. But there are elements of what's going on that the party has yet to consider or pay much mind to as a whole. And in my opinion, their lack of preparedness and their absent-mindedness regarding certain enemies that they've made is going to be bad for not only them, but for the city around them. Because, well, at the same time that Edragan is trying to make the city a better place, there are forces that are also trying to exploit the election to further their own means, and this is not surprising by any means. Any chance to change the lord of a country is going to come with bad actors trying to take advantage and use that power for themselves, but there's a particularly ominous shift that's been going on around them that the party has not quite taken notice of, that I think is going to appear in a way that they do not expect, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to handle it. In particular, there is one grudge that they have not, I'm fairly certain they have entirely forgotten about and moved on from, that is far more of a problem than they realize. Furthermore,
It's so juicy.
Furthermore, and this is a bit more direct and not quite as vague, I think that especially as of the last couple sessions, the party is in an incredibly compromised situation. That I, as the DM, as the maestro of the orchestra that is this world, I can't imagine not going south. And I think that any chance that this campaign is going to end in a way that seems amicable for everybody that you guys have met, ending with no pain for anybody, with all of the NPCs you've met being happy and getting their wishes and nobody having to turn on you or take what they want, I think that that ship has long since sailed. And there is no way this campaign is going to end without some burnt bridges and without some scorched earth.
So
And the tournament's gonna be so fucking fun!
It's gonna be so fun! Oh my god!
You guys are gonna meet a rogues gallery of fun characters, none of which have huge chips off their shoulders, none of
Oh my
which have
God.
greater importance that you might expect.
Oh,
Everything's great, and the merchant lords are all fun people!
Oh god.
While we're on this very high, up note kind of energy, Logan, would you care to play the game?
Okay, yeah. So I know what we're doing, but lead us in anyways.
All right. So I have confirmed with Logan before the recording started that it was okay to do this. Not every question that was asked here was asked by people on Twitter. I have reached out, Logan, to your players and asked them to ask you questions on stream. With that, Logan is going to go through the questions that I've asked on stream, and he is going to guess whether a question came from a player or whether it came from someone from Twitter. And if he guesses wrong, then inspiration is awarded.
May I suggest that
Sure.
Okay, so preliminary
It's
question.
Right to the enemies get it.
No, I wouldn't. No. Especially not going into what
Monster.
you guys are going to be doing next session. Dear God. If you want ominous foreshadowing, maybe that's all I needed. So, just to clarify, is there a question from every player in here? Are there 6 that I'm looking out for?
No. Some people did not submit questions. Other people submitted multiple questions.
Okay.
And one person, and this is the one gimme, one person asked a question that also someone on Twitter asked the same question.
Oh.
So that is your gimme.
That's okay. Okay, so what I'm going to say is, how should we handle distribution of inspiration, do you think? Do you think it should be, if I guess that it was a person question, or if I don't guess it was a person question, then the person that asked it should get an inspiration?
I'm okay with that.
Let's go that way. That'll be, and if it seems unfair, that's everyone's comeuppance for giving no questions or giving too many.
Sure.
Okay, this is, welcome to the latter half of this as I slowly dissect these questions. Do I have an idea of how many I'm looking at, or should I go through all the questions to me and...
Let me see.
Because if I know an amount I should aim for, then I can do that.
I'm counting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh man, I feel like I have like a 50-50 chance of getting anyone right then. That's a lot of them. 6. Okay, so it's not... It's...
And
or is that a trick?
They were all asked.
Okay.
I didn't like get a question and not ask it.
Immediately my mind goes to, how do you spell amnesis wouldn't be one of them. That's just... And then I was like, wait a minute! What if that's a trick? I'm gonna just give that the benefit of the doubt and assume that that's not going to be it. I'm going to immediately disregard all of the Crystal Queen questions. Because I have a weird feeling that they all came from like 2 people.
But that's most of them.
I know!
Jeez.
Also asking for a friend. Have you ever taken a consort? For everyone, there's a favorite suite. I'm not going to keep asking questions because I feel like I'm narrowing it down, but my mind goes to like, are the ones asked of everyone? No, that wouldn't make sense. I'm only going to focus on the ones asked of me specifically.
I like that we get this brief glimpse into how your brain works. This is a good time.
What do you mean?
Because you're thinking out loud. It's great.
Do I not do this normally? Okay. Does she... Okay, that one's to all of you. We're going to... Queen, self-proclaimed title. Actually, does she have a kingdom? No. Logan. About the strike cleanse of the queen there. And legit... Just the last 6, because they'll be the only non-Crystal Queen questions. I think the Lexi's theory about the Crystal Queen question, I believe that is one of the players.
That is correct.
Okay. Who was that?
Who could it be?
You think it's Carrie, maybe? Carrie, was that you?
What? What?
You did almost directly out yourself.
I know!
mid-podcast.
I fucking know!
I didn't say anything about it, but I'm like, there's a game we're gonna play later. Does she know? There's a
Why
game.
did I think that I could play a spy?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even
holy
register
shit.
that. It's just because I was thinking of when I was asking decoy question, I was like, how did I do it? And I was like, what were the things that I feel outed me? And I was like, it's direct reference, like with familiarity. I found like talking about things as if you were like on the ground floor of when it happened, and that sort of reeks of that. Heck, and also my 4 things. But yeah,
That's like
heck,
not fair. You said you were gonna disregard all the Crystal Queen questions. Like, how dare you? You broke the rules. It's not
I
okay.
have 5 more. I believe that the Merry Mist likes to read what genres. I believe that was a player as well.
That is the gimme.
Oh.
That
So-
was asked by both a player and a fan.
Was that asked by Spencer?
That was not asked by Spencer.
Oh,
that
who
one,
asked
Wait,
that one?
Was it Aaron?
That one was asked by the Is Boy.
Is he? Okay.
Oh.
That actually, that makes sense because he, as Raleigh, asked her a similar question, and he said she said she'd get a list to him. So that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
I don't like how well he's doing. I want inspiration. This is bull honky.
I believe that the question about Journey joining the party was a player question.
That it was.
Who asked? Was that Deco?
That was Deco.
Yes.
Absolutely
Right
Deco.
there.
That's half of them.
Oh my god. This is
Okay.
upsetting.
And that wouldn't be that one. That one wasn't for me. Are there legitimately only like 6 non-Crystal Queen questions? Because that is.
She's intriguing, damn it.
I get it. I'm very
There-
happy that there's such interest in her.
There was perhaps a fan favorite.
Maybe.
I'm glad that she's a
Who's to
later
say?
campaign thing, because clearly people are going to be looking forward to it. Man, it's just everyone. Fuck it. Was how do you spell amnesis a player question?
Okay, that one is technically not because it's a question that I personally asked, but you're right, that wasn't from Twitter.
So we'll just exclude that from this then.
Sure.
Because you also asked me that before stream.
I was like, that'd be a funny thing to start the stream with.
Yeah.
I just asked him about it.
I'm not convinced that all of the Crystal Queen questions are not. I'm gonna take a gamble here. Even though this feels like a chase thing. Is can you hit us with a big yet ominous foreshadowing? Is that a player? Or is
That
you?
is a player.
Yes! And it was
Bread.
Aaron. Bread?
What?
The
Oh!
Borperson.
Oh, the Borkerson.
Okay. I was
Take back
listening like
all of the nice things I said about her.
I thought that would, I was sitting here being like, that feels like it's a Deco thing, but he already gave one. I was like, Aaron likes it's not worded in a Spencer way. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I see why that's Bread, but I apologize to Bread for not believing that you participated in this.
Also, thing I have to bring up, because at this point you've gotten a lot of guesses in, I want to add one more element into this. A single question for the players, or actually 2 questions for the players, are ones that were submitted by other players.
And I should be considering those. So at this point,
Yes.
I guess what I'm asking is, should I look away from my questions and should I look at the player questions?
Yeah, I think specifically segmenting off player questions will not get you all of them, and I think that's a little unfair.
Okay.
For your guess purposes.
I mean, to be fair, I'm already 4 in, so this just opens it up to more possibilities. So this is okay. So I got 2 left. Let's do this.
Kill both of them and let me and Aaron have some inspiration. Come
Okay. Nope, not that one. Dear Miriam, would you say that being crushed by Fenris? Would you say you're crushed by Fenris thinking you're no big deal? Was that one of them?
That was from Twitter.
Oh! Ah, this is harder.
Hooray.
XX Scarecrow 69XX.
Damn it! That means one person at least is gonna get inspiration.
Wonderful.
Ha
I thought that might have been another Bread one. I thought that might have been a Bread targeted at Aaron one. Right.
That's fair.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like the idea of the other players also throwing in questions. We should maybe like do this in the future. This is fun.
Heck yeah.
No, that one's too detached.
Last guess. Okay.
I know.
This is one.
There's so many more options that opened up because before I was like, they're for me, and they're probably not the Crystal Queen. So I wonder if it's the 6 that will remain. Ooh, this is down to the wire.
Make sure to edit in ominous music during this point.
I can't edit. I have a playlist going.
Oh heck.
Oh, jeez.
It's not it's song's about to change though. I'll tell you if it's really ominous.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to assume that that one's not it because they misspelled Lyra, and I'm pretty sure the group knows that it's YRELYRE. Also,
Okay.
MARYMIST for Mary Miss. Thanks. This is hard. This one's hard. I'm glad we have no time limit.
wish we had cameras for this point just to get all of our reactions as Logan's like sweating trying to find the right question.
No.
It's not that one. I gotta be honest, my next guess was gonna be the Argo Scythe one. I was like, that kind of feels like a Spencer question. Because for the players, top 3 NPCs you think would betray the party. Was that a player question?
Is that the last one you're guessing for?
That's my last guess.
That, as your last guess, was a player question.
Yes! And it was...
Barb!
It was... I want to guess who it was. And it was asked by... Neither of you... Why did I say Aaron question? You're here. You would... No, but Carrie also gave one. It was... Spencer!
It was bread!
No.
What the fuck, Brad?
I don't think Spencer asked any questions. It seems like
He didn't!
I knew
Okay.
it!
Who is the one person I missed?
The one last question that you did not get was, for archival purposes, how do you feel about High Lord Morian?
Shit! That's the one that I was like, that's too personal. It wouldn't be that one. Because I was like, that's too close to the ground, because it felt too... Who was it? Who asked it?
It was Deco.
Fuck. Fuck. I got your other one, though, Deco, so... Yeah. But fuck.
Fuck you.
Oh, okay, so Deco, Quintus is going to get an inspiration.
Ha ha!
Oh,
And you got one floating inspiration.
that was...
That one you got to assign.
What?
You got the Twitter one wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Or does that not count?
Oh, the one that, like, was added
Yeah,
by Twitter,
but-
but also asked by a
Yes.
player?
No, the Fenris thinking that... Miriam
Well, no, because I got that one wrong, which means I didn't guess one of the other questions, which was the one you just told me.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Okay, I see. I
Yeah.
understand. I understand the rules of the game
Yeah.
now. No need to panic.
Same.
No, it's fine. It's fine. There's one question I didn't guess, and it was that Deco one, so Deco gets an inspiration.
That makes
Good
sense.
job, Deco.
Okay, cool. Way to go, Deco.
Ah. I can't wait to do this again in a year.
All right, it's going to be so fun.
Oh. Well, thank you guys so much for spending your time asking questions, answering questions. It's a real good heckin'
For
time.
asking them, guys.
Ridiculous. I'm basically not here. I don't know what you mean. Oh. But thanks to everybody who's gotten this far in the heckin' podcast. We heckin' appreciate you guys spending your time hanging out with us in these
This
little
was a
calls.
longo one.
We love you
Yeah.
so much. Yes,
This is a real good one.
Makes sense. Extra person.
Yeah, it's true. We will be back in another heckin' month, and in that one, I believe that one's gonna be Vogan Fenris, correct?
It is, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Also-
y'all
My favorite boys.
go for it.
27th.
Mhm.
Just to make sure regarding the stuff, look for a Google Doc that you can submit things through, but if you have questions, feel free to still submit them through the Chat19 hashtag.
Hashtag Chat19.
We won't
Don't
phase that
forget
out immediately.
Chat19. They're a restaurant.
They're a stupid restaurant.
Oh.
But thank you guys so much. This was so much fun, and we gonna see you guys in a month for the next Chat19.
Oh, you baby, love you.
19. Here you
And
go,
save.
Logan. Here's a reward for getting 5 right.
Oh, I'm
It's
still
rigged.
recording. What is it? It's it's 3 images of Rin Tosaka that aren't loading.
No!
Perfect.
And that is how you end a podcast.
Oh, they loaded. Bye, everyone.